Eyes toward the heavens, spread your wings and fly. Feet up off the ground, give it one more try. Time to be free, time to be free. Time to fly. Free, fly free. Flying so free, flying so free. Free to touch the sky. Heart is in my mouth and I can't think of a better way. My heart is in my mouth and I can't think of a better way to spend the day than with you here today.
Hey, welcome back everybody to the Irish Furian. I am the Irish Furian, and tonight I have a special guest, Pearl. She got in contact with me and she has some very interesting things to talk about. And it kind of ties into what I'm always saying about morality and about how you lose a nation by losing morality. And that how the people coming in here who retain the morality are actually going to surpass us if we don't step up our game. And Pearl here tonight is actually going to verify that and back up what I'm saying. She's also got a little bit more of a disturbing topic to talk about after that, but I think it's all good information to know and appreciate. So Pearl, how are you this evening?
I'm good, thank you very much. Yeah, great.
Great. And
Great.
yeah, so you went online looking dating, and you
Yes.
you had a few interesting experiences.
I have had quite a lot of interesting experiences, actually, yes. I joined dating around 2 years ago first, and it was a pretty turbulent experience, first
Yeah.
of all.
Yes.
I wouldn't even class that as dating sites anymore. I have stopped using the word dating sites because I wouldn't regard them as dating sites. I find them as just pornography sites nearly, because, to be
Okay.
honest with you,
Yeah.
you're speaking to someone for 5 minutes, some gentleman will come along, and after about 5 minutes, he's asking you your life story and asking you personal questions about your sex life.
Okay.
I don't see that as a dating site. How can that be a dating site?
Of course. Yes. And and so has that put you off so-called dating sites?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I cannot see any Irish men, and I'm not just putting this down like in a bad way. I'm sure there are gentlemen out there that are quite nice, and I don't want to go across as I'm just horrible against Irish men. I'm not, but I'm just saying what I have come across in the last few years on dating sites by men. I find them absolutely shocking. It was being totally no regard at all for women.
Yeah.
It's just like they're objects. They will come on and they will start talking to you and asking you about your private life, when you had sex last, what would you like to do with me? And this is a man that has only just spoken to you for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
but he's not seeing you as a woman. Not at all, but just an object at the end of a phone or at the end of the line.
Yes.
I find it great and disgusting that
Absolutely.
men on this, and Irish men, are treating women like this.
Okay.
I cannot believe it. The morality of all men has gone completely,
Yeah.
and it's just shocking. I don't look anymore now at dating sites for men as in having a relationship with anyone, because it's totally unexpected. There's no one out there, to be honest. No one. They're all the same that I have come across. I would like to see one gentleman come along and say, nice. There hasn't been one.
So you were telling me about one particular individual who, and I'm not talking about the HSE guy that you're going to talk about in a while, but you're talking about one particular guy who do you want to expand and kind of fluff out the all the kind of things he was suggesting and all of that kind of thing?
Well, there's one particular gentleman, and I have been actually in contact with this man for about a year now. you're obviously wondering why on earth would you still be in contact with this man for a year after this? But I guess part of curiosity
Yes.
as to where this would. It started off with he was, oh, I love you, I miss you, and I can't, I want to be around you. So fake, totally rubbish, but yet very convincing for certain people would be very convinced by him.
Yeah.
The next step then is that he gets your trust, he brings you around him, builds up your trust in him, so that if he thinks you've got feelings for him, then the next step then is asking you then to do things for him. The guard, one thing that he would like you to do is he likes to see his partner, girlfriend, whoever it may be, having sex with someone else, and he gets great pleasure out of this. This is his pleasure, and he doesn't have any regard for this woman now. He's just expecting her to go along. Why not?
So he is actually saying that he would get enjoyment of seeing another woman, the woman that he is with or wants to be with another man, in the act in front of him. Yeah, like this is very demonstrative of and very expressive of what pornography has done to our society. It's very telling that so-called normal men are being conditioned to think in this way, that they've been conditioned to believe this is what sex is supposed to be, that and I believe this is a serious problem for Irish men and Irish people in general, because when you condition a whole people to be like this, to think that this is normal, you're actually destroying their ability to have an intimate, normal relationships. And because the beast that is the woman, the creature that is the woman is not that. I mean, the women that show up on pornography are broken women. They're women who are runaways. They have drug addiction. They have histories of abuse, and and then what happens is that the pornographic industry pushes all these different categories, which push it further and push it further and further until it becomes absolute degeneracy, and it conditions the mind to view another man and in the act with a woman that man should be in a relationship and connected with. It takes him so far from what sex in a relationship actually is, which is what it was designed for. Obviously, it's the creation of new life, but there are with people who age, I mean, there is still the bonding aspect to it and all the rest of it as well. But so that played out for you in your own personal experience in having talked to this man over time.
Mm-hmm. Also, he's like, he eats, sleeps, and dreams pornography.
My Lord.
That is all he discusses. All the time, he discusses sex. If he's not wanting to have sex, he's talking about sex. It's like he's completely addicted to this.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a mind of his own, and certainly women that will be involved with this man will never be treated as a woman or be treated in any way of any decency, because he doesn't see the person. He does not see anyone in front of him.
Yeah.
All he is seeing is fantasies being lived out with this, and he will keep on someone and tell them he loves them or he cares for them because he needs this person to help him with his fantasies that he needs. Without that, he is not a person. He's lost himself as well. This person is also lost now. Not only is he using other people, but this gentleman is no longer going to be a nice, kind, loving man anymore. He's lost himself in this mist. Where will he ever come back? I don't think so. I think it's gone to a stage now where it's gone too far, and he will not return back to a normal, nice person that can treat a woman or even treat himself. Not just women, but treat himself with respect.
Indeed,
because I could not see respect in this man now.
Yes.
I could not respect him before. So they're losing respect for themselves as well.
Exactly.
Not just for the
it's like when I think, about we like the way the media has conditioned us to believe that all the old institutions were so twee and prehistoric and old-fashioned. And I'm talking about the institution of marriage, and I'm talking about I would even go so far as to say arranged marriage. In the past, whereby, like, we think those systems, those structures, the media has told us to believe, has made fools out of us to make us believe that those structures that kept us on the good, straight and narrow, towards the good, true and beautiful, actually are twee and old-fashioned and prehistoric. And it's like, these things are what kept us in balance. They kept us, even though there was great difficulty. Of course, there's always going to be difficulty in relationships, and there's always going to be difficulty in marriage. But like, even the person you choose, even the person you actually, if you meet somebody outside, in a coffee shop, and you can talk to them, and you develop a friendship and a relationship with them, down the line, there's even going to be great challenges in that relationship. There's always challenges in every relationship and difficulty, and that's the nature of life. But it's how you approach it and the mentality that you bring to it. So I would say, that I think it's when we had the breakdown in our institutions, and by institutions I don't mean the government, and I don't mean the state. I mean, like, our social and even religious institutions that kept us in a structure going forward, so that we could actually find meaning and purpose through family and through a loved one, a wife or a husband, and hope in that. Right now where we're at is the complete disintegration of that. Any thoughts on that yourself?
Well, to be honest, I don't see any structure in any of that anymore.
Yeah.
What I would see would be a room. If you put 100 seats in a room, and you ask 100 men to sit on these seats, then ask them one question. For any man in this room that does not watch porn, please keep your seat. Those that watch porn, please leave the room.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you tonight, there'll be a lot of empty seats in that room.
For sure.
Because porn has become now the only thing now that people are living for.
That's crazy.
Now, men are addicted to porn as much as they are addicted to alcohol, to drugs, or to get of anything else.
Very true.
It's also destroying families, and it's also destroying self-respect of women, but it's also, and they don't see this, destroying the self-respect of themselves.
Yes, of course.
The fact men here.
Yes. But it's very telling. It's very telling that, and I know, everybody knows who follows my channel knows that how I talk about Netflix and the manufacturing of consent, and Edward Bernays, and the co-founder of Netflix being Mark Randolph, who is the grandnephew of Edward Bernays, and who was the nephew of Sigmund Freud. But so that's Netflix. But the point I'm going to make is that, like, Netflix it's a subscription-based service. You have to pay money to watch Netflix.
Yes.
But high definition porn, which you can just go straight onto your phone, go straight onto your laptop, is free. Now, people, you got to think about that. You got to think about, why is something that obscene, that much in your face, right? That something of that nature. Why is something of that nature free? You have to ask why. When you consider high definition means more data, more digital space, bigger servers. So, like, if high definition porn is free, high definition, like, think of the server space that it takes up, that it costs to hold those in storage, right? And it's free. So, like, it's a weapon. Pornography is a weapon to disintegrate our society, to actually destroy men's minds. Like, the basic pillars of society are men. That's what holds up society. It's men. It's patriarchy, and everything that has turned that on its head to say that that patriarchy is bad, blah blah blah, feminism. No, that's the inversion. Patriarchy keeps solidity, it keeps the foundations. When men go, when their minds go, when they can't hold in relationship a woman and a family, there is no society. Civilization is gone, you know, and our society is gone. That's why the Irish nation is lost, because Irish men became weak and took the ticket of things like pornography, you know. So do you want to talk a bit more about?
It's very sad to see men, especially men, starting from 40 upwards into the 50s and into the 60s, actually acting as if they're 19 and 20-year-olds, because their brain has been taken over by this pornography, and to say that man is supposed to be the leader of the pack,
Yeah.
I'm afraid women can't see that anymore, because all we are seeing as these creatures that are brainwashed in front of us,
So now,
that are no us.
this is a good moment. This is a good moment to segue into your experience with the African.
Well, Irish men, okay, I find it just completely useless, and there's no point looking anymore for a dating person or to work with anyone in Ireland. That's the way I've come across in the last few years. Having said that, I have met someone who is completely the opposite of all of these people. I met a lovely gentleman from Africa.
An African.
He
Yeah.
is an African, and he is very, very intelligent, caring, considerate, and treats people with respect. He is great with, I can talk to him about anything. He treats me with respect. And in about 2 months, we have been talking. And I have met him also. The more respect never ends.
Sound is getting a little bit. The sound is getting a little bit watery and murky there, Pearl. Can you just hold it? Don't cover the microphone and hold the camera up as best you can, yeah, or the phone. Sorry, go on, yeah. I was interested. That was interesting, yeah.
As I said, I find he has great respect for people, and he has treated me with respect. I have never discovered this before from any Irishman. I don't know the last time was I could walk around a town with someone holding my hand and feel proud to be there with him, and he was proud to be there with me. And the things he talks about, normal everyday things. He goes out, he walks, he does not look at pornography. In fact, he finds it absolutely hideous that any man would do that.
Yes.
He finds it hideous that a man would treat his wife or girlfriend or anything and would have them watching or having sex with anyone else. This to him is shocking.
Yes.
Now this man is what I would only call an inspiration. Why can't Irishmen, why can't you be like this? You're coming along, you're talking about, oh, these foreign guys are coming into this country. Oh, they're taking away our women. Well, why wouldn't they?
Exactly.
When women are being treated with respect for once.
Exactly.
Of course we will.
Yeah.
Of course we will. Do we really want to be going along the street with some guy who is calling us names, who's using us as a sex object? Or do we want to go along the street with a guy who will respect us, care for us, and hold our hand? Which would you choose? I know which one I'm choosing anyway.
Yeah. And this is the reason I wanted to interview Pearl tonight is that I think this story is very indicative and highlights exactly what has led us to the predicament where we're at now. My channel and I started out as a nationalist because we love Ireland and we love the Irish people. However, the more I looked into it, it wasn't such a simple situation. Well, it's simple in some ways. It's simple as in the way Pearl is describing it there, is that, like, I think a lot of people don't understand how morality is linked to nationality, and how morality is directly linked to keeping your people together as a nation, and that when you lose that morality, you lose your nation. And like, it's even biblical in the Bible. It's the same thing. If you lose God's law, you lose your nation. there's many passages and readings in the Bible that describe that, and I'm sure it's the same in the Quran. But and I have myself gone through a journey of like which Pearl is describing, whereby in my past I've been lost, and I have treated women not so well, favorably. I've always been kind. I've always been, and I have always been respectful, but that like as a man, we're kind of hardwired into reproduction. Straight, like this is how life begets life. But we say the fact that women, like I was saying this to Pearl just the other evening, that Billy Connolly has a great line which he says on stage, and what he says is that men need to have sex to feel loved, and women need to feel loved to have sex. And he said some one of them is going to have to lie, you know. but the point I'm making is that we do have those different reproductive strategies, but that at the end of the day, the woman completes the man in a relationship because she fills out that other side to him, which is gives meaning and purpose to his existence through family, through children, through the continuation of life. And that can only be done with stability, when a man finds his own meaning and purpose as a man in that role. Outside of that, you lose your meaning and purpose as a man, as does a woman. A woman needs a man's strength and security and groundedness to actually hold the family and the relationship together. So, but the man must have a moral law. He must submit to God in order to be favourable in the woman's eyes. Because how can a woman submit to a man if he won't submit to God? If he takes on being his own God, how can a woman then concede to the man's strength and his his want for a family? Like, of course, women will abort children with weak men who are that weak that they watch pornography and that they destroy their minds. Like, and then in return they destroy their nation. You know, like Pearl here. Here's a woman. She's describing it. She's telling you. You know. Thanks, Pearl. So, do you want to tell us then? For the next segment is going to be about Pearl telling us about another individual that she met on online dating, and this guy was something else. He was the other. This guy was lost, but this guy, it depends on how you perceive it. Whether you could say derangement, mental illness, possessed, satanic, and where did he work for, Pearl?
Quite frightening.
Where did he work for? Where did he work for, Pearl?
He worked for the health board.
All right. Did you hear that, people? He worked for the HSC.
He first started talking to me, and he seemed a very nice person, very intelligent, polite, and I thought, wow, there is one out here that you can actually talk to. This is a nice guy. But after a couple of months, when we had started talking a lot and he'd gotten to know me and I thought I had gotten to know him, certain things started to come out of him. He asked me one night, as we were just talking in general, he said, have you ever thought about having incest? I was like, sorry, what's this? Here, have you ever thought about having intercourse with your brother, your father, your uncles? I'm thinking, what's this? He said, yes, I do. I have thought about it a lot. My mother, my sisters. He has watched his sister sleep, he said, and watched her and wanted to put his hand up her skirts and touch her.
Mm.
It got to, I was just like, at first, this can't be real. Like, is this guy really coming along? Because this guy seemed so nice, like a nice guy that we talked to down the street.
Yeah.
This can't be real.
Yeah.
And he's talking now about his sister who's fallen asleep on the settee in her sitting room, and he's wanting to put his hand up her skirt. He's wanting to have sex with her. He is imagining her what she's like naked. He is imagining then his mother, who's in her 80s, what it would be like to have sex with her. To find that shocking was, yes, I definitely did. But it didn't end there. He then described then, and I hope people aren't shocked about, like, this is shocking. I'm sorry.
You have to say it, Pearl. You have to say it.
He then to describe then how his fantasy is to have sex with children as young as a year old and to rip them apart, to cut open a little girl's private area so he could enter her, and if she cried, he would smash her head against the wall to knock her out. If she cried and screamed, that is what he was going to do, punish her.
Okay.
He would also like a little boy of 3 or 4 to be watching so he could show him what to do. This is what we are now living with in Ireland. This is the people now we're working with every day of the week. In the health board, a nice, decent man, you would think. I'm sure his neighbours and his friends all think he's, bee's knees. But I'm sorry to have to say this. Don't be fooled by who you think is right. Always be aware of what's going on out there, because it's shocking.
How are we supposed to approach that? How as a society are we supposed to deal with something like that without an understanding as gone before? This is why I started to go back to Christianity. Well, the reason I went back to Christianity was I began to see everybody was behaving like their own gods. They were being their own gods. And that is actually why I went back, because I thought, this is crazy. This isn't going to work. Everybody is being their own god. It's like, how is that going to work in a society? So I think like when you think of, we say, a religious framework going back 800 years, or understanding the teachings of Jesus Christ and God Almighty and all the beautiful ideas, and intelligent and aware and the ideas that keep us safe as a people, how they got twisted, like from the Roman Catholic Church, how they got twisted, and people no longer could trust in those basic ideals, because they came with a poisoned dish, and the thing is that like Jesus said himself, he said I showed it. I think it's in Matthew, the book of Matthew. Says, he who leads any one of these astray, and by these he means the children, who leads these astray. Now, what all he means is if you corrupt their minds. Now, he said, put a millstone around their neck and cast them into the sea. Right? How violent a thing to say. Like, but he was only talking about if you corrupt their minds. Can you imagine what Jesus would say about somebody doing or thinking or doing something like this? That was only about corrupting their minds. So, like, the fact that Jesus said that, and the very institution that was supposed to be expounding and teaching us about the teachings of Jesus Christ, actually held within their own institution these type of people. It disillusioned so many people, but then it left them without a framework of protection, of how to actually deal with in society with this kind of evil, And I like, when I was an atheist for 27 years, and I thought to myself, this evil's just one of those words that was made up and all the rest. And I thought to myself, you know, when you hear it from somebody like yourself, Pearl, you think, no, there's definitely an evil. You know.
It's quite shocking. It's quite shocking
Yeah.
to have to listen to this. I have to also say, these people, they don't come around with this tattoo on their forehead saying, you know, this is what I have been doing, this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
They're just a member of our society, walking around every day, doing our normal things. Women there can go out on dates, perhaps women that have children, meet up with these men, bring them home to meet their children,
Yeah.
thinking, he's a nice guy, I like him, he's going to be great around my kids.
Yeah.
I hope and I pray that not women will think and think again before they get involved with people. It's to really know someone before you ever bring anyone home to your
Absolutely.
family or your kids. Please, I would have asked anyone, don't do this, please.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, there was a lot to be said. I think a lot of it is again the disintegration of the structures and the morals and the structures and the institutions in our society, where, you know, I think like a lot of people have slipped through the net, and I'm not even going to be going as far as talking in the extreme about the particular, like the individual you're talking about there, Pearl, but I'd even be saying, like, when it comes to people who end up in their 40s and 50s with no children, never having been married, it's like those people have been have lost an opportunity where if there was if society had in place structures which were things like arranged marriage, which got you with somebody and said, now the two of you have to create something beautiful together, and you have to be the man, you have to do and engage in the role that a man does, which is provide for this woman, and the woman then must provide a family for you, and then you work together. Like that's instant meaning. That's instant meaning and purpose. And now so many people don't have that, and so they're laid open to these forces, these you can only say like demonic forces, these satanic forces, which is the extreme of it, really. But I don't want to get too deep into theology or sociology or anything, Pearl, because I think I just really did want to have you on to actually talk to everybody here on my channel about your personal experience of this. Like this will be an eye-opener, I think, for a lot of people, that you know, there's more going on than Netflix and Hollywood movies and TV and the news and everything and all of this stuff, that there is a real need for people now to really start finding meaning in their lives, and that means each other and love it in a loving way, and God if you can, because we need it, yeah. So anyway,
Well,
would you like to talk? Yeah.
I would not be recommending dating sites for anyone. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Because it's quite an eye-opener. I don't think there's many Netflix or your usual TV soaps or anything that will come across with what I have come across on dating sites, which the word dating alone is.
Yeah.
That's off out the window. Where exactly do these men date anymore? There's no such thing as dating where a man will come on and say, you know, I'll bring you out for the night for a few drinks or whatever, treat you with respect. That does not happen anymore on these dating sites. I hate the word now, dating sites. It doesn't exist now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm only on there for curiosity. I'm on there now and
of course.
Say,
Of course.
Could it get any worse?
Well,
Can there actually be worse?
Well, this is what I'm saying to the people that watch my channel. I'm saying to them that the people coming in here from other countries, they have moral and religious beliefs, which steps them up so high in a moral with a moral law and a moral order that is going to surpass us. Like we already are being surpassed because Irish men are being weak. Irish men are being morally weak, and like there's no point to that. There's actually no point to being morally weak. Like if you take it like an adventure, like as if you're going to go to the gym or something. It's the same thing with stepping up your game, your moral order, as in telling the truth. Start with telling the truth. What you see is true. Speak the truth. Don't lie. As soon as you do that, your moral compass, the needle just swings around a little bit more towards true north, and your compass starts to get honed a little bit better. That's as simple as that. I always tell that to everybody. Just speak the truth. Just speak the truth. You speak the truth, your moral compass gets honed a little bit sharper, a little bit better, and move on from there and keep going and learn and step our game up. Like the Irish men have to step up their game and take back possession of themselves first, their own morality, their own purpose and meaning in their lives. Pearl, I'm good. Yes, go on.
There's got to stop crying. All these men, they're coming over from all these countries. They're stealing our women.
Yeah.
First of all, we're not your women. You do not own us. And certainly we do not want to be owned by people that treat us like this.
Exactly.
No. We want to be treated with respect
Yes.
and love and be cared for.
Yes.
Because we deserve it.
Of course.
Why would we? Why would I live with a man who has been abusive to me, hurting me, lying to me, cheating on me, treating me with complete disaster and contempt, when I could be with someone else from another country who is treating me with love, kindness and respect?
Exactly.
I think I know which direction I'm going. So why do these men come and say, oh, they're coming into this country, they're taking our women. You are letting them.
Exactly.
You guys are letting them take your women.
Yep. Because they've taken the ticket of lust. They've taken the ticket of love of money. Yeah. Well, Pearl, you're a pearl of wisdom, and thank you. Thank you for coming on tonight, this evening. And you've been. I think you're going to open up an awful lot of eyes tonight, and from this video, you're going to open up.
Sure, not everyone will agree with me, but if some people out there do, I'm glad to hear about it.
I think if they can just make that connection, in their minds, if they can just make that connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's save one person from some disaster. Well, you know, I would like to think that I'd make some difference. You know.
Yes, and I think you will. I think after this, some people will actually open up their eyes.
I am just speaking from my findings and how I'm feeling. This is my personal view. I'm not pushing it on anyone else. Everyone is entitled to their own personal view, and I don't want anyone thinking, "Oh God, is she ramming things down our throats?"
No. I don't think anybody will take it that way. I don't think anybody will take it. Okay, Pearl. Listen, I'll leave it there, and I'll say good evening and thanks again for coming on. You've been fantastic. You've been fantastic.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay, bye everybody. Take care.